Hello. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our proposal today. Our team consists of Jeffrey, Gabriel, Carlos, Thomas, and Jacob, and together we are the Strategic Change Catalyst, a consulting group ready to offer you fast results with our groundbreaking theories that we hope you find valuable today. Next slide, please. Now you're wondering why choose us. Our team, Strategic Change Catalyst, consists of experts in organizational behavior equipped with a comprehensive understanding of individual groups, organizational dynamics. Leveraging our deep insights from academic and real-world applications, we offer solutions grounded in proven theory and tailored to Biscuit & Co.'s unique challenges. Our goal here today is to offer you solutions to your organizational behavior problems with a grounded theory analysis approach. With that being said, I want to go ahead and introduce our first colleague, Gabriel.
Thank you, Carlos. Hello, everyone. My name is Gabriel Yang, and today I'd like to discuss a pressing issue we've identified at Biscuit & Co., along with the innovative solutions we've created to address it. So at its core, our macro level problem revolves around the established culture of complacency within Biscuit & Co. So this phenomenon revolves around hindering growth and reducing progress. So culture complacency occurs when a company becomes too comfortable with its current practices, inhibiting innovation and adaptability. We've noticed a concerning trend among Biscuit & Co.'s employees, which is a resistance to embracing a new cultural shifts. Now, what is more alarming is that some employees are actively derailing projects to protest against mandatory systematic changes. This situation has been increased by the lack of consequences for misbehavior, as employees don't face any significant repercussions for disregarding their supervisor's directions. Now, what we've concluded to counter this widespread cultural complacency is that we dove into the basis of social power theory and identified a potential solution rooted in coercive power. So coercive power is a form of influence derived from the forcing of negative consequences or penalties. So our proposed remedy involves the implementation of a comprehensive system-wide three-strike rule. So let me elaborate on this solution. So for each instance where an employee is found responsible for mishap or error, they will receive a formal write-up as a first strike. Now, this serves as a documented reminder of the importance of obedience to given companies' protocols. So if a second issue arises, a second strike will be given. Now, lastly, if an employee receives a third and final strike, a new protocol will be activated. The employee will be required to complete a standard of operations training module before they can resume their regular duties. This module is meticulously designed to reinforce proper procedures, enhance their understanding of company protocols, as well as ensure they are fully aligned with the desired cultural shifts. So only after successfully completing this module and gaining supervisor approval will they be able to return back to the workplace. So by introducing this system-wide three-strike rule, we aim to achieve several goals. Now, number one, it establishes a clear and consistent accountability mechanism that fosters a greater sense of responsibility among employees. Number two, it sends a powerful message that resisting change comes with tangible consequences. And lastly, it offers an opportunity for employees to rectify their behavior and actively participate in the company's ongoing transformation. So in conclusion, the cultural complacency at Biscuit & Co. is a challenge that demands our attention and creative problem solving. So through the application of coercive power in the form of thoughtful and structured three-strike rule, we believe we can effectively shift the culture dynamics within the organization. So thank you for your time. And now I'm going to pass it off to my other colleague, Carlos.
Thank you, Gabriel. Now, the next theory we want to introduce is strained relationships with external stakeholders. Now, this is a problem that organizations have been facing, and our theory ground analysis includes an organization relationship with external stakeholders rooted in broader social contracts. Justice as Fairness sheds light on this, emphasizing how organizational decisions and impacts are perceived by the larger society. Furthermore, Greenberg and Folger highlighted the Denoic justice concept, suggesting that organizations are morally obligated to uphold procedural justice, not just for the benefit, but because it's inherently the right thing to do. Our solution is to craft a holistic stakeholder engagement strategy rooted in Rawls principles while ensuring transparency and fair dealings, and also incorporating Greenberg's recommendations of periodic procedural audits and how it can be conducted to ensure consistency in dealing and rectify any deviations. Now, why should we use the procedural justice system? The system is more stable and consistent over a long period of time. At its core, Procedural justice is rooted in human psychology and an inherent desire for fairness. The basic human need doesn't change over time, and what changes is the manifestation and evaluation of what's considered fair in different societal and temporal contexts. In an organizational context, the stability of procedural justice can be influenced by leadership changes, organizational culture shifts, and external social pressures. An organization committed to upholding procedural justice needs to be periodically reassessed and processed to ensure that they remain fair and are perceived such by stakeholders. The stability of procedural justice in an organization largely depends on consistent communication. When processes change or when the reason behind certain decisions are not made clear to stakeholders, their perception of procedural justice can wane. Regular communication helps ensure that procedural justice doesn't just exist, but it's also perceived and recognized. Empirical studies have constantly shown that perceptions of procedural justice have long-term effects on outcomes like organizational commitment, trust, and also satisfaction. These effects suggest a relatively stable impact, but it's crucial to note that maintaining this stability requires consistent effort. With that being introduced and said, I want to go ahead and introduce our next colleague, Thomas.
Thank you, Carlos. So I want to be talking about the meso level problems within the leadership dynamic. So first, we want to talk about the importance of a procedural justice climate. So we see a disagreement between Peter and Murphy, and by extension, their respective departments. This can be viewed in the context of perceived injustices. Murphy may not feel inclined to speak out against a company who has a bias towards loyalty or employees with seniority, causing Murphy to feel workplace victimization as a newer employee trying to make changes. A solution would be by organizing a mediated and facilitated joint meetings. We as consultants are effectively creating an environment where both Peter and Murphy, irrespective of their hierarchical status, can air their grievances in a structured and fair manner. Through these interventions, we are indirectly reinforcing a procedural justice climate wherein both leaders and the departments feel like there's a fair process in place to address their concerns. So we also want to address the power dynamics. The existing power dynamics, which is Peter being close to Eastern and Murphy being the new entrant, can be equated to the relative hierarchical status. These simulated meetings and mediations not only address the direct conflicts, but also aim to balance out the power dynamics. In these settings, both leaders are on equal footing, therefore reducing any of the potential negative impacts of perceived power imbalances. Next, as consultants, we want to mediate workplace aggressions among both leaders in order to reconcile and facilitate stronger teamwork, rather than acting out of aggression and being counterproductive. The rift between the two leaders and the departments need a pathway to forgiveness and reconciliation for the overall benefit of the organization. By focusing on creating a procedural justice climate, we're more likely to encourage reconciliation. The study indicates that even high-status victims like Murphy, given his initiative for change in a fair procedural environment, are inclined to reconcile. Similarly, Peter and his department, even if they perceive themselves as being at a lower state relative to the new changes, are more likely to lean towards forgiveness and reconciliation if they believe in the fairness of the processes in place. So let's talk about the impact on the tensions between the two departments. With that solution, we're able to mitigate the us versus them mentality. By addressing leadership conflicts, the broader divisions between the two departments can be reduced. Employees often take cues from their leaders. So when Murphy and Peter are collaborating, it can dissipate the old versus new mindset. Through the facilitation of joint meetings, we aim to downplay the exaggerated status differences of old versus new factions and focus more on common organizational goals. This approach, as suggested by the study, can promote reconciliation and reduce retaliatory actions. Thank you. I'm going to pass it on to my colleague, Jeffrey.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Jeffrey Yu. I will be introducing the micro level problem to which the solution will be later discussed. So on a micro level, although most employees at Biscuit & Company are passionate about the well-being of the company's future and are aware of the needed immediate changes, they would willingly procrastinate and deliver excuses on why they would not assist Murphy in filling out customer surveys and provide feedback for his suggestions for the company. Within the organizational culture framework, the company has fostered a loyal employee base. However, these individuals perceive Murphy as a potential disruptor, compromising their comfortable lifestyle. This relates back to the complacent work culture of the company. The management of motivation is vital. Employees need that burst of motivation to improve favorable collaborations among individual employee groups and the relationship between employees and leaders. To bolster the overall organizational health and particularly support Murphy's initiatives, it's imperative to amplify and cultivate enhanced interpersonal engagements and collaborations among team members to make team engagement more profound. Such strategic interactions are crucial for synergistic outcomes and the sustainable growth of the company. Preserving these interpersonal relationships is crucial for driving change. Which brings me to our next point, our method of solution, in which my colleague Jacob will further elaborate on this topic.
All right, thank you, Jeffrey. So my name is Jacob, and now that we know about the motivational issues at this company, we can now discuss the solution. So to solve this problem, we suggest that we implement a two-part solution. Part A is that we implement SMART goals, while part B, we will then conduct regular check-ins with employees regarding these SMART goals. So you may be asking yourself, what is a SMART goal? A SMART goal is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. So what that means is that the goal needs to be specific. It cannot be vague. It has to have a specific meaning. Measurable, it needs to be quantifiably measurable. It needs to be achievable within our reality. It needs to be relevant to the specific job. And it needs to be time-bound, meaning it needs to have a specific time schedule. It can't just be happen whenever. So having these clear, achievable goals can help motivate the employees of this company to then work harder in this company. So through motivation, the dissenting employees are more likely to feel connected with this company. And that seems to be the big issue here, is that the lack of motivation is causing the employees to feel disconnected. So moving on to the second point, having just the goals isn't just enough. You need to then have some follow through with that. And that's where employee check-ins come in. So we are suggesting that Biscuit & Co. set up routine check-ins with employees about their progress on their own specific SMART goals. Remember that SMART goals are specific and individual, so these check-ins won't be the same for everyone. And so within these check-ins, we are then going to have this direct supervisors talk to that employee and discuss whether they have or have not met the goals. And if they have not met the goals, what changes need to be done to then get them back on track to achieve these goals. This step will allow employees to have the accountability that they need towards reaching these goals at the company, because just having a goal isn't enough. There needs to be some accountability, some pressure to then push that employee to do what they need to do. And then from there, they'll feel motivated within the company. So this specific solution is based on Herzberg's two-factor model for employee motivation, which states that when employees have motivators such as achievement, recognition, and personal growth, they are far more likely to work harder in the organization. So within this solution, their employees are going to have the achievement and recognition from their direct supervisor during these check-ins saying, hey, you're meeting your goals. You're doing a really good job. And they're going to have the personal growth should they not be reaching their goals either, because they'll say, okay, I need to work harder. And so that is our solution for motivation. Next slide, please. Okay. And so in conclusion, after we've seen all solutions, we've now been able to provide Biscuit & Co. 3 specific solutions to their organizational issues. Number 1 is a 3-strike rule, which was based on procedural justice. Number 2 is facilitated meetings between department heads based also off procedural justice. And number 3 is the goal setting and accountability, which we just talked about based off of Herzberg's two-factor model. And so through these 3 solutions, Biscuit & Co. will be able to solve their main issues within their organizations on a macro, a meso, and a micro level. And as far as timelines go, these solutions need to be implemented as soon as possible so that Biscuit & Co. can improve their productivity and overall output from the company. All right, so that has been our presentation, and thank you so much.